Hello YouTubers! So today's video is going to be slightly different from my usual construction or instructional type of videos. Today it's all going to be about campervan safety. I've pretty much completed the full conversion in this VW T5 that I've been converting for the last couple of months. I'm just about to put the final finishing fascia touches onto a kitchen unit, but before doing so I've organised for a caravan and motorhome safety inspector to come out, double check all of the gas fittings, all of the electrical fittings, just to be sure that it's up to code and what he would basically expect to see if he was going out to do a professional motorhome or a caravan or anything like that. Now, because it's a campervan, you generally can't get your domestic gas fitters to come around and check out your gas. Obviously they know what they're doing and things like that, but unless you've actually got your LPG safety certification, it doesn't count towards your motorhomes, your caravans, this, that, the other, because they're all basically running off bottled gas. And most of your domestic installers are running off mains gas, and they are slightly different regulations in regards to fixtures, fittings, this, that, the other. So if you were looking to get a campervan that you've made yourself signed off for safety reasons, if you wanted to hire it out in the future, if you had an insurance company that were asking to see a safety certificate, then you would need to have somebody who I'm getting around shortly to come out, double check everything over, make sure everything's okay. Now generally there's a few good checklists that a registered motorhome / caravan engineer would want to see before he signs off any sort of safety paperwork in regards to a conversion, whether it's professional or DIY. Now I've had 2 vans previously signed off by this chap who's coming around shortly, and on the very first van I did, he wouldn't actually sign it off because it didn't meet the specific codes that he would have expected to see. He gave me a list of things that needed rectifying and amending. Once I'd done those, he came around, double checked everything to make sure everything was correctly done, and after that it was signed off. Now after that first experience, the second van that I did, which is my T4 high top, that's also documented on my channel, I basically knew all of the requirements that he would expect to see. So on that particular inspection on my second van, that was signed off first time round, no issues at all, none highlighted, no rectification issues to worry about or anything like that. So in regards to campervan safety for the inspectors and the engineers, what they would generally expect to see checklist wise, if you've got 240 volt and you've got gas, those are the 2 main things that they will inspect. Sometimes if you ask them to, they will also inspect your 12 volt systems as well, but if you've got a very basic system set up, generally there's not a lot to actually check itself. Safety wise, it's all about your gas and your 240. So gas wise, obviously any sort of gas fittings need to be ran with copper piping. Any rubber pipe needs to be as short as possible, and it should only be going from the gas bottle to a manifold or a master on-off tap switch type thing. After that it should all be copper throughout for all fixtures and fittings, whether that's for a SMEV gas unit, whether it's for a Propex heater, this, that, the other, 3-way fridge, doesn't matter, it should all be copper fitted. After that, they would normally expect to see a metal lined gas locker. Now it doesn't have to be a manufactured gas locker that has like 345mm metal or anything like that. It can be a normal wooden cupboard, as long as the inside of the cupboard is lined with metal sheeting, just to try and make sure that there's minimal combustible material next to the gas bottle in case the worst case scenario happened and there was a leak. If it's all metal lined, it's going to be a lot more flame resistant. Also in the gas locker, they would expect to see a dropout hole and a securing strap to make sure that the bottle can't move and rotate or move around inside the gas locker. If you've got a 3-way fridge, they would generally expect to see a dropout hole underneath your 3-way fridge, again just for safety precautions more than anything else. If you've got a gas hob, that should have air free flowing through to the actual connection, again just in case there were any sort of leaks. It should be able to drop down and then be able to escape somewhere. In regards to the gas piping, if you're using the copper piping should be earthed to the actual chassis of the body of the van as well. Nice thick earthing cable. You can get some earthen strips that just secure onto the gas pipe itself. Run an earthen cable down to some bare metal bodywork, and then that will earth the gas pipe just in case there were any shorts that it hit the gas. If you're on say 240 hookup, anything like that, that would make sure that the consumer units tripped, and it would make sure that there were no shocks. In regards to your 240 system, again, they would expect to see your consumer unit bonded and earthed to the chassis, again, just for grounding purposes more than anything else. And then obviously making sure that you've got all the correct circuit breakers, this, that, the other, in the consumer unit itself. That's pretty much it in regards to the safety inspection itself. I'll show you some of the bits I've got here that should help sign him off and make him happy, to make sure that, as I say, I'm going to be meeting all the regulations. So I haven't actually finished clipping my kitchen panel together yet. I've got a cover panel just to go over the top there, but I've left it off just to allow access so he can see all of the actual copper fixtures and fittings. You can see there I've got my gas copper pipe going through to the fridge, and that there is the earthing cable that I mentioned. That's bonded onto the copper pipe, and that earth cable goes off to some bare metal on the chassis. Now on there's my consumer unit, and again on that, just underneath, you can see I've got an earth cable coming out of that, and again that goes down, and that's also bonded onto the chassis as well. So that will ground off the consumer unit, again, in case there were any earth leaks, this, that, the other. Now in my gas locker, as I say, it's just going to be a wooden locker that I've just lined with metal. I'll show you that now. So you can see that's my gas locker there. It's fully lined with metal sheeting all the way around. The gas bottle, it stands off the floor by 3 inches, and there's a dropout hole underneath that bottle. So if there were any issues, as I say, the gas being heavier than air will just drop straight to the bottom of the locker and straight out the dropout hole. And there you can see I've got my securing safety strap to make sure that the bottle itself can't shake itself about too much in the van while it's on the move. Now I do also have a dropout hole underneath my 3-way fridge as well. So again, if there were any issues, any gas that would leak straight off the back of the unit, drop down and fall straight out the dropout hole. So again, hopefully this should all meet the requirements that the safety engineer is expecting to see. Hopefully in 20 minutes or so he should have a pop round, double check everything over and make sure everything's okay. If he doesn't mind, I might try and get him on camera, but if not, I'll pick it up and just explain exactly what he said after he's finished. But what this does mean is that if you do try and get insurance with any sort of companies that do want a safety inspection, then you'll be able to provide one, rather than having to shop around and try and find a company that doesn't want a safety inspection. At the end of the day, having all of your equipment, all of your gas connections and fixtures and fittings, all of your 240 electrics tested over, it's more just for peace of mind more than anything else. If you were thinking of hiring out a camper van, it is a requirement to also have it signed off by an engineer. That's one of the things that is required if you're going down the convert to hire route. I say I'm not going down that route, I'm just doing this more for peace of mind and safety more than anything else. It does also mean if I do go to sell a van down the line, it's going to be a good selling point to say it has been checked over by a safety engineer, rather than just a DIY conversion with unknown safety. Who knows what the connections might be like, this, that, the other. So as I say, it's for peace of mind, resale value, and just to be sure that everything's been done right and to code. Right, so the engineer's been and he's signed off the certificate. He was really happy with all of the work that I've done. No issues highlighted, no remedial or rectification work required. So as I say, he's basically came around and checked over all of the gas supply, had a leak detector on all of the actual joints, fixtures, fittings, making sure that they're all secured, fully tight, no leaks detected or anything like that. I'd already done a similar sort of test myself just to be sure, because obviously you don't want an inspector turning up to find out that you've got leaking connectors, this, that, the other anyway, so it's always best to try and do these checklists before you get any inspectors out or anything like that. It's just going to save time, money, revisits, this, that, the other, if you know that you can basically tick off everything that they would expect to see. So he was quite happy with the gas locker, all the metal lining in that, the fact that it's got the dropout hole, it's got the retainer strap, it's locked in place by the actual sofa bed as well, so he's more than happy with that. Happy that the fact that all the gas piping's been bonded to the chassis. Happy with the 240 hookup. He did some trip tests on that to make sure that the consumer unit trips out when it detects any overloads. That all tripped out fine, as he would have expected it to. So again, that's all being tested and signed off as well. He did check to make sure that the hookup point is of a suitable type. Obviously you can't just have trailing, dangling cables out your van or anything. If you're going to have an externally mounted hookup point, it does need to be a waterproof type, an IP56 minimum, ideally 65, and that should give a good watertight seal inside the actual hookup unit as well. But because mine's located underneath the van, attached to the chassis underneath, and again it's an IP65 unit that I've used as well, he was more than happy with that. So he didn't really have much time to sit down and go through any bits and bobs on camera, because the chap himself, he's fully booked up for the next 6 weeks of work. It's only the fact that he lives round the corner from me that he managed to squeeze me in for a quick inspection before he was on his way out to a caravan park to do some more standard tests that he normally does. Now, because this is a motorhome and he's not having to do any damp checks, this, that, the other, it's a very basic setup in regards to what I've got for my gas and electric system. Didn't really charge that much either as well. Normally his inspections charge anywhere from £75 to £125, depending on the amount of time that he's going to be spending on the inspection, the distance away, this, that, the other. But because he's literally round the corner and there's very, very little to check in here, just a case of checking to make sure the gas is fine and the 240 is fine, then he's signed it all off. He's gave me a little certificate. So I've got a little printout there, and as you can just see there, it's a safety inspection of gas and electrical systems, all in good working order, and he's gave me the discounted rate of just £45 because he hasn't had to basically travel out to find where I'm located or anything. I'm literally round the corner from him. If I was located further away, he would have had to travel out. It would have been a minimum of £75. But I said just because I'm round the corner and there was very minimal checks in regards to what he needed to do, £45, so I'm really happy with that as well. And I'd say it just gives that peace of mind and safety reassurance that you know everything's being done right, everything's being checked, and it's all to regulations in regards to what a caravan / motorhome engineer would expect to see. So I hope you found this video informative. If you're going to be going down the inspection routes yourself, I'd say that these are the main issues that you would need to have addressed before getting any inspectors out. So you need a metal lined gas locker. It doesn't need to be a manufactured gas locker, it just a wooden cupboard will do, as long as all of the insides, top and bottom, are all lined with sheet metal. The gas locker needs to have a dropout hole and a securing strap. All of your gas pipe work needs to be copper. You're only supposed to have up to 1 metre of rubber, ideally even less than that, and that should be going to a regulator or a on-off tap. From there, everything should be copper. The copper pipe should be bonded to the chassis. And then on the 240 consumer unit, the consumer unit earth again should also be bonded to the chassis. The hookup point needs to be of a water rated or concealed type to be sure that it can't have any water ingress into where the connections are. That's pretty much it. As I say, there's not a massive amount that needs doing. It's just a case of common sense more than anything else, and making sure that everything is done properly to be sure that it's safe. That's the main concern. So, as I said, I hope you found this video useful and a little bit informative. Now all this bit has been signed off, my next video on my channel will actually be my kitchen build, showing how I've built the entire unit, fitted the SMEV unit in, the fridge in, this, that, the other. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below, give the video a little thumbs up, have a look at my channel. There's loads of content on there already. This is the 5th van that I've documented on my channel, and there's also going to be a Mercedes minibus coming soon as well. So there's already around about 130 odd videos on my channel, and there's going to be plenty more to come as well when I finish this particular van and start with the next one. So thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video on my channel. Thanks for watching, cheers.